Hey, what's going on? In a couple of minutes you will be able to recreate all the images I'm about to show you right now. As always, we're gonna start with a simple solution. The only thing you need is a simple flashlight and a white sheet of paper. To fix the light bulb, I'd recommend to use some putty or blue tack if you have some. Yeah, this setup looks pretty messy. What do you think of the idea of using the white paper and the flashlight? Do you think it will work? Let's find out. For this first test, I have set the focus manually on the heating wire. I have used an aperture of 4.5 and a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second. To increase the chances to get a cool image, I'd recommend to switch the camera mode to burst mode. So take as many images as possible while splashing with the water. Okay, now let's see how the JPEGs look right out of the camera. No color correction, no post-production. Okay, wow, I did not expect that 1/1000th of a second is way too long. I think we have to go up to 2000 or 4000th of a second. That is way too much motion blur. What I really like about those images is that it's so easy to recreate them. You just need a sheet of paper and a flashlight. But that's just the start. Okay, I've just reviewed the images and some of them actually look pretty cool. But nevertheless, I'm gonna replace my paper book torch setup with a softbox, because I think when we have a big bright background, the image quality will be much better. And then we're gonna have to work on our water powering skills, because this, yeah, it worked, but I think we can do it better. Let's go. Okay, now I'm gonna close the aperture and then we're gonna see if that was really a good idea. After darkening the image, you can see that this softbox is actually not producing soft light. So I had to diffuse the softbox again. If you have one, I'd really recommend to use a white reflector shield. But unfortunately, I do not own one, so I had to work for another solution, which actually worked pretty okay at the end. Now look at this professional setup. That's what I call next level photography. To get rid of the motion blur we've seen in the first images, I have switched the shutter speed from 1000 to 4000th of a second. Unfortunately, we get a little bit of noise because we have to shoot at a higher ISO. But hey, while I was powering the water on the light bulb, I was holding the shutter button with the other hand, which worked actually pretty good. If you like high contrast, maybe that's your image. But for me, it was kind of a problem that the light source is only coming from the back. That's why the screw thread remains completely black. So I have added a second light from the front to add more detail to the image. And now, same procedure, press the shutter button and splash as hard as you can. That was fun. Okay, those are the JPEGs, and here are the slightly corrected images after some post-processing in Lightroom. In my videos, I try to keep the setup as simple as possible because I don't want you to buy anything to recreate those images. And as you just saw in the beginning of the video, even with a white paper and a flashlight, you can get pretty cool shots. But when we use very fast shutter speeds and a cheap softbox as I did, there's actually just not enough light. So I want to create a very clean image at low ISO, and therefore we need more light. And that's why I have decided to switch over to an offset camera flash and a diffuser just to have more light and shoot at low ISO. Let's see how this looks like. Therefore, I had to buy a flash trigger. I used a pretty cheap one of Newer, which allowed us to use an ISO of 100 and close down the aperture even more while shooting at 4,000 of a second, offering us this unique look. What is actually a little problem for me is that I cannot use continuous shooting anymore. My flash is not very fast, so I have only one image per water splash. So this is a lot of try and error. I must say that I'm not unhappy with the results. Maybe you've seen my last video with the light bulb and the sparklers. Then maybe you know what's coming now, because our image is great, but we can do it better. We gonna add some reflections to the image. Therefore, we have to mount our bulb to a glass plate or a mirror or a black plexiglass plate, for example, and then repeat the steps, but then we have the splash from the bottom and the reflection. Let's go. Yeah, that is my final image, at least for this video. Now it's up to you to get creative. Maybe you can use two bottles or different fluids, different colored fluids or ink, for example. Just get creative and make the best out of it. If you liked this video, I'd really appreciate if you leave a comment and a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, I'd recommend to have a look on my YouTube channel, especially on the video I've uploaded last week. Here are a few samples. Well, you've watched the video till the end, so I think the video wasn't too bad, right? If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to not miss any new videos of me. Have a good day and hopefully see you next week in the next video.